Okay, so first of all, when I say buying a house with no credit or credentials, I want to explain to you what I mean. No credit means you don't have to have a credit score. You don't have to go to a mortgage broker. You don't have to go to a bank. You don't have to get pre-qualified, pre-approved, and go through all the rigmarole to actually get a loan from a bank. That's no credit. No credentials. That means you don't have to show W-2s, pay stubs, tax returns. You don't have to have credit or credentials to buy a house. It's just as simple as that. Now, how do you actually do it? Well, the way you do it, or the way people like me and a lot of creative real estate investors do it, that's what we call ourselves, creative real estate investors or creative buyers do it, is through creative financing. It's just as simple as that. It's either going to be a creative financing deal where the owner of the property that we're buying is going to finance the property to us, meaning that they're going to become the bank. They're going to give us terms like a bank would, and we're going to pay them every month to own the home. You're going to go through the same closing, the same due diligence process. Nothing is different. The only difference is the owner is the bank and the bank is not the bank. That's owner financing. Or you can use strategies like subject to, meaning that the owner who owns the home actually has a loan with a bank that they use their credit and credentials to assume. But the difference is they're going to sell us the home. We're going to take title to the deed. We're going to own the property, but the loan that they got from the bank is going to stay in place. That would be called taking the property or purchasing the property subject to the existing loan. So it's either going to be owner finance or it's going to be subject to. Of course, there are many, many other creative ways that you can structure a deal, but those are, for us, the common ways to do it. So how do you buy a house with no credit, no credentials? It all begins with you finding someone who wants to sell a home, all right? You got to find it. So that means you got to generate a lead. You got to figure out who wants to sell a home. It could be an expired listing that you found. It could be a tired landlord. It could be a vacant property. It could be someone who's in pre-foreclosure. It could be a home that someone inherited because it was a part of an estate, or their parents moved on and left them with the home and they no longer want to stay in it. Whatever the situation is, you have to find a seller, okay? So it's all about generating leads and finding people who have things going on in their life, good or bad, or both, and who are motivated enough to sell the home. So once you actually find that person, then you've got to ask them the right questions, solve their problems, and figure out if they're actually open to some form of creative finance, whether it's owner finance, whether it's subject to, or whether it's both, because you could do a little bit of both. And then guess what? Once you get to that point, you find the person, you talk to them, you ask them the qualifying questions, or in the world of sales, we call it fact finding. Once you find their motivations and gather those facts based on their motivations, and they agree to do some type of deal, then it's just a matter of you having a transaction coordinator or an attorney, or both, definitely an attorney, who could draft up the paperwork so that you could begin the process. Now, there are a lot of legal aspects of this transaction that you have to make sure are done correctly. That's why you have to have an attorney who is investor friendly, who is creative real estate investing friendly. But guess what? We live in a world of the internet where you could go to Google, you could go to YouTube, and you could pull up attorneys in your area, title companies in your area, real estate investment groups in your area, even off of social media, coaches and investors who are active in that space like me, and you can reach out to me or us or them, and you can connect with them. You can have people come in and help you structure the deals. A lot of times they already have the documentation depending on where you live, because there are certain laws that govern some of the things that you're doing, especially if it's deals like pre-foreclosures or deals that have liens on them. You want to make sure that you do your due diligence. So it's not just something you can jump into. You definitely got to get educated, but more importantly, you want to have attorneys and experts and people supporting you to make it happen. But I just wanted to simplify this thing so that you can know without a shadow of a doubt. Maybe it's not without a shadow of a doubt. I know it because I do it, I've done it, and I know a lot of people who have done it and do it too. You can buy a house with no credit, no credentials, and that's how you're going to do it. It's either going to be owner finance or some form of owner finance, particularly subject to or both.